You guys know what time it is. Get strapped in and ready for some good times. This is the Blowed Out Podcast. What is up, everybody? It's your favorite fatty with a natty here from the always lovely northern Utah. Although, unfortunately, we've been in the news a little too much lately. But we're not going to talk too terribly much about that. I have, for the most part, decided to be radio silent. I don't know, with the school stuff and the Charlie Kirk stuff, and just the grossness on social media, and now even just today, another handful of cops were shot. Man, just everything is super heavy, and you guys know that I don't like super heavy. I just don't. I don't like it, so I've chosen to be, for the most part, silent, and we're really not going to talk about it much. The one thing I will address are surrounding all of that is the people who are now crying that they are losing their jobs, or social media followers, or whatever they're losing because of their poor decisions to be gross humans and celebrate this assassination. I don't know that you're going to get a whole lot of people other than the ones that were joining you to feel bad for you. Right, wrong, or indifferent, love him or hate him, agree with him or not, that wasn't, never will be, still isn't a reason to take someone's life over words. So, of course, I think I speak for all of us here that we feel just awful about that. But the ones who are crying, at least seemingly the most, and like I said, I've kind of chosen to ignore a lot of it. You guys know I love to talk smack, so I haven't ignored all of it, rather. But the ones that are crying that, oh, I'm being arrested, or I've lost my job because of my First Amendment rights. Well, first of all, if you lost your job, it's because you most likely work for a private institution, meaning that they can, especially in Utah, they can fire you at will. They can fire you for words. They can fire you for Facebook posts or TikToks or whatever. I mean, it's really not rocket science. The First Amendment does not protect destruction of personal property or property, trespassing, or acts that interfere with others' rights. So, one example is this twit that went and stomped out all the flowers and candles and whatever else. It's been a fairly on-the-radar story. But, again, and that's what this person is crying. I'm sure you guys all know of this by now. I'm not the only one looking into these things. But vandalism is conduct, not speech. And I'm not pulling this off the top of my head. Someone else, I'm borrowing what someone else wrote because they did it very well, better than I could. Destroying or damaging property is criminal mischief or vandalism, not expressive free speech. Also, courthouses are a traditional public forum, so you're not allowed to do that. You just can't. You can't go around because you didn't agree with him or somehow he triggered you. You just can't run around and do or say, well, you can say, but you can say whatever you please. That doesn't mean there isn't going to be consequences or aren't going to be consequences for your actions. However, you trample a memorial or, mess up someone's vigil or memorial, that's criminal mischief, or it's vandalism or destruction of property or private property. You don't get, you can, but there are going to be consequences. Free speech or your First Amendment rights end at words. And again, I will absolutely stand here, whether I agree with you or not. Matt and I have talked about it plenty of times. I will defend your right. I will stand right next to you and defend your right to say whatever you please, whether I agree with it or not. I may retort, but you are absolutely within your rights to do so. Where that ends is when you decide to put hands on someone or trash their stuff. So there's that. And like I said, that's probably about all I'm going to say about it. Just, I don't like where it's all gone. This is really, really, in my opinion, just driven a larger stake into the giant crack of division in this country and possibly the world, but most importantly within the country. And it has to stop. The division, the divisiveness has to stop. Period. We just can't. Like I said, we can differ in opinions. That doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and you're wrong. It just doesn't. That's the way it is. Anyhow, moving forward from that, it's finally getting to be pretty nice weather. And that was a terrible segue, but man, it was a gorgeous day today, and I will take it. I do not mind mid-70s at all. Kind of a portly feller, so mid-70s agree with me quite well. Now is the time to get out there and start ripping some lips, fishing and camping and get it in while you can, because these temperatures aren't going to last long depending on where in the world you are. But at least in this neck of the woods, man, it is time to get out there, and it's not so overly hot that you can't stand to fish or even just sit in a lawn chair under a tree. It's perfect for that, y'all. So I highly suggest you do that and get off of this godforsaken thing that we're all, sadly, at least a little bit addicted to, social media and internet and rabbit holes, and good Lord, just let it go. Like I said, get outside, touch some grass, go for a hike, go fishing, shooting. Hunting season's coming up. Man, it is time to disconnect from the digital world, other than this podcast, of course, and get out there and enjoy life. It is way too short, and seems like every time you turn around, there is another reminder of just how short it is. So don't let it pass you by worrying about whatever the news is talking about this moment, or whatever social media is saying about something else. God, let it go. Go full Elsa on it and just let it go. Speaking of getting out, I've had a real hankering lately to get out and do some prospecting. I have enjoyed this immensely in the past, and I kind of got away from it. I haven't done any in quite some time. But now I realize why. Good Lord. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to gold and silver prices. I assume that most of you are. But I never thought that I would see almost $3,700 for an ounce of gold. I certainly never thought I would see $42 for an ounce of silver. Holy Santa Claus shit. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I'm sure someone else has probably already said it, so you may not hear it here first. But at this rate, if you have a few bucks you can sit on, I did some quick math earlier, and granted, I ain't the best at math, so I could be wrong, but if you could afford to sit on 50 grand until the snow flies, you probably stand to make 20, because I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if gold does not hit 5,000 an ounce by the time the snow flies, or at least Christmas. That is wild. Wild. What was it? 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, that historically it had never passed $3,500, never hit $3,500 an ounce, and literally overnight it smashed it by almost $100. And now, like I said, I if I remember right, I looked earlier tonight at work, so I apologize if my numbers are off, but I want to say it was 36.90, 36.75, something like that. It's, damn. I mean, I wish I could buy. Sadly, at 50 grand, that's only 14 ounces. But like I said, if I'm right, and by no means am I a fiduciary or a financial advisor, because I'm terrible at finances. However, if my gut's right and it smashes 5,000 by Christmas, that's 20 grand on 14 ounces. Just between what you're going to pay today, spot price. And granted, I've never purchased investment quality gold, so I don't know if you pay spot price. I don't know how that works. But if you could pay spot price today and sit on it on 14 ounces and it hit 5 grand by Christmas, that's just shy of $20,000 on 14 ounces. Not a bad way to make 20 grand in 3 months. I know. Like I said, if I'm wrong, it won't be that long after. If it isn't by Christmas, I don't see any way it couldn't be 5 grand by Valentine's Day. But again, I've been wrong once, maybe twice. I don't have any examples of when I was wrong, but I've been told I was wrong a lot. So I guess you kind of have to take that as it is. Also, another thing I was completely unaware, apparently Tesla, which I know some of you may or may not think is a 4-letter word anymore, apparently is about to release some sort of crazy domestic robot that stands to revolutionize like the way we live. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's creepy. I like the Jetsons as much as anybody, but I don't think I want to risk my robotic maid beating the shit out of me in the middle of the night because she went sentient just yet. I'll probably wait for Gen 2 and see what happens. That's just me. But again, if you've got a couple of bucks, apparently that stock, and I don't have any details, but apparently it's gone up by like $75 just in the last 2 weeks. So, man, wish I could have seen the writing on that wall or had the insider tip on that. I'm going to have to text Nancy Pelosi and see if she can give me some tips. She apparently has them all. Another thing, and this just came to me, that I might look into is old Gavin Newsom has apparently decided he's started his own, now I forget what they call it, basically a coalition of blue West Coast states that have decided that they know better than the CDC. So he's gone ahead and said that California is now playing by their own rules, this Western Health Alliance or something along those lines for COVID shots. The problem with that is that insurance companies are most likely just going to tell him to pound sand. So, sadly, for you guys in California, you're getting IOUs for your tax returns again because he's vowing to foot the bill for all these vaccinations that nobody needs. However, if you could somehow get in on that, you could do the spread on how in debt California, how much farther in debt California is going to go fronting all these vaccinations. Boy, I'll bet you could make out like a bandit in Vegas on that. Not that anyone can afford to go to Vegas anymore. This is, apparently it's sad times down there. I haven't been down in a hot minute. Honestly, I can't stand the drive or I can't afford to even go. Lord. But now they're claiming that Cirrus and some other companies down there are just booming. But like tourism is down like 23% or some ridiculous thing because nobody can afford the damn place. But if you're a billionaire, sure. Yeah, they're flying into Vegas all the time. That hasn't changed. They act like somehow that's gone up. No, come on now. They may have noticed an increase because they don't have to fly in and hang out with the poors like us anymore. But that's always been a thing. So, the numbers there are skewed. But again, it's mainstream media, and we all know what that means and how I feel about it. So, take it for what it is. But, man, if you could afford a night at whatever Caesars or, the Bellagio, which, no. Head on over to Fremont, where the real Vegas action is, and you could probably still get in there for less than a mortgage payment, and then hit the tables or the books, the sports book somehow, and bet on how much farther California is going to go into debt. Boy, you'd probably make out like a bandit. It's better than Powerball. Anyhow, circling back just a bit, I mentioned, the fact that I am a portly feller. And I do love the fatty with a natty thing. I am officially like 16 pounds down. So probably not going to celebrate just yet, but it's never a bad thing. I did get my poop in a jar results back. And they said I don't have to do it for another 3 years because it was good. That's a hell of a bonus. If I never have to do that again, probably be all right. But for now, I'll take 3 years. Anyhow, I'm not even sick. So, 15 pounds, hell, I'll take it. The old knees will probably appreciate it. But like I said, probably not going to go out and reserve like a pop-out cake or anything just yet. But it never hurts. Maybe someday I'll be the not-so-fatty with a natty. I would like to mention that it seems like we found the culprit in our equipment that had one of the microphones was blowed out. There, I did it. I did the Family Guy thing. I said it in the episode. has a blown diaphragm. Which is what she said. So hopefully the sound quality is much better. Schnitzel. I had somewhere else I was going to go with that, and it just went away. Well, that's what happens. Huh. Well, if anybody has any Audio-Technica AT2005 USBs kicking around in good shape, I'd probably be interested in picking them up off of you. So holler at your boy. Anyhow, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be back in a minute. Are you a business owner or marketing director for your company? Would you like to explore the potential benefits of advertising on the show? The Blowed Out Podcast currently reaches listeners in over 104 cities spread across 13 countries worldwide. To explore advertising options, including budgeting and frequency, email us at blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com and be sure to include marketing in the subject line. Whew. Well, that was necessary. I just realized I'm going to have to update the little commercial there. We're at 116 cities in 14 countries right now. So thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Hope you enjoy it. Please keep it going, guys. It blows me away to see these places and these numbers. I can never thank you enough. That being said, as this is a completely self-produced, self-funded project, man, if there's anybody out there that's on the fence about advertising on the show, or Lord, even if you're in this neck of the woods and you want to do some trade work for some advertising, hit me up and let's see if we can figure something out. I would love to have some advertisers or some sponsors to add to the show. See if we can help get you guys some traction. It'll be a win-win for all of us, I think. You guys know the drill, blowedoutpodcast@gmail.com. But I hope that everyone got a chance to listen to episode 58 with Maddie and Miss Lady. It was a good time. It's been a minute since we all got together. Well, hasn't been a minute since we all got together, but it's been a minute since we had a chance to record. When we thought about it, we all weren't already clinging to life from being exhausted or having some projects roll through the shop. So it was definitely good to bang on an episode with those guys, and we'll try and keep them a little more frequent in the future. Can't just be me rattling on like this midweek all the time. It can, but it doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of. It definitely doesn't seem as fun. I hope you guys enjoy it, but the dog, boy, the old studio dog here, Nash, she doesn't answer, and she doesn't have thumbs, so it kind of makes it tricky for her to open my beers or click buttons on the computer for me. Not that we don't have fun and I don't enjoy it, because I certainly do, and I hope you guys do as well. I think it adds some balance to when we're just being goofballs and everything else, but like I said, I certainly couldn't do it without Maddie and Miss Lady, and I certainly couldn't do it without you guys. So, again, appreciate y'all. Now, when I said earlier that I wasn't going to talk much about the thing, I truly meant that. Now, what I can and have and probably will always talk about are the things surrounding these types of events. And last week, when I was kind of radio silent on all of it, I was really trying to be a little bit more introspective, more, I don't know, I guess some days I think about it and I think that I certainly come off as an asshole. I know that. But I'm genuine. I have a huge heart. I just don't like bullshit. I don't like, and I think that's most of us, Some people play it off better than others. But I don't, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of a good way to put this, but like at work, for instance, I come off as an ornery old bastard because I don't appreciate when people take shortcuts or do things improperly that lead to, a chain of events that could have been avoided. I'm a mechanic. You guys know that. I've been a mechanic for, Lord, ever. I think this is my 23rd, probably 23rd, almost 24th year in aerospace. So, especially in aerospace, I do not like shortcuts where they are not acceptable. Now, by that, any mechanics or folks, probably in any profession, let's say, there are certain things that have to be done properly, by the book, the right way, to a T. And then there are certain things that you can get away with. And I used to tell my guys this all the time when I was building airplanes. If it is landing gear or a flight control system or engine controls, something absolutely vital to that plane staying in the air and not killing someone or a lot of people for that matter, there is no variation. There is no, I did it the best I could, or nobody's going to notice if I use this bolt instead of that bolt, or, there just isn't, there's not room for that in anything that transports humans. Now I don't build airplanes anymore, so there is a lot of room for, that's broke and I don't have the right stuff to fix it because it's obsolete, so this bolt will work, or that fix, or this Band-Aid, or whatnot. But if it's a process, and all you have to do is follow the process correctly, and everything will run smooth, it really, really just chafes my dimpled white ass when it's a very simple process and you still feel the need to shortcut things to somehow try and gain, I don't know, to make your life easier when it's already pretty easy. Anyhow, I kind of got off on a ramble there. My point is that I come off as an asshole, an unreal asshole a lot. And I'm trying to be very consciously aware of that. And I try not to be all the time. Now, for driving, I've probably mentioned it before, and I don't have, there's no room for tolerance there. If you drive like a twit, if you camp out in the fast lane, if you turn left across 3 lanes of traffic, come on, it's not that hard. But that's one place where, regardless of how hard I try, I cannot not be an asshole in those situations. My point to all this is that within all of these events of the last just couple of weeks, let alone the last couple of decades, Lord, it's not like this is anything new. This is just fresh, and there are certain things that you can and can't get away with. Again, going back to airplanes, I know that I could, if it was a toilet seat, for instance, in a heavy aircraft that has a toilet, I know that the bolt in the toilet seat just needs to be a bolt in the toilet seat. It doesn't need to be a specific bolt. It doesn't even necessarily need to go in a specific way, as long as that bolt isn't going to interfere with anything else. It just needs to hold the damn toilet seat on. It's not holding on the landing gear or keeping, a flight control from functioning properly, or it's not going to, or even worst case, rather, if it shears mid-flight, which Would probably take some doing. However, Mile High Club, Lord, I don't know. Someone possibly of my stature and a little bit of turbulence, yes, you could bust off the bolt in the toilet seat, but it's not going to cause the plane to crash. So there are things that we all know that we can get away with in situations where they're not critical. But there are many more things that we can't. And now I'm starting to lose track of where I was going with this. However, that being said, or to try and wrap that tangent up into something cohesive, means that you can say whatever you want. Guys, you all know this. Does that mean that you can say it at your place of work? Not necessarily. Does that mean that you can put it on your social media and not have repercussions? Also not necessarily. The problem that I see so much currently is everyone is so wrapped up in trying to be still divided, first of all, and also somehow get to the bottom of some great mystery that they have decided there is. There may or may not be some great conspiracy. But at the end of the day, does it matter? I mean, kind of yes, kind of no, at least in my opinion. But also, why is everyone so consumed about being the first to figure it out? I feel like we should be focused more on just fixing or trying to fix the problems within our society, within our country, than being the one who realized that, in all of the news conferences, that the computer screen and all the different pictures of the shooter never changed. It's all photoshopped. Oh, okay, maybe it was. And if that's the case, in some time it will come out just like it has in the past, and would it really surprise anyone? It's just like we've talked about with the Epstein file stuff. I absolutely do not support any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, what is it going to change? It's not going to change anything if something comes out and we find out that it was a government conspiracy. Because as of the moment, there's a 50-50 chance that it was. But it doesn't change the fact that someone died and it literally just drove everyone into these fits that are not only causing further divisiveness, but further violence, and people are at each other's throats. It's no longer about, it is about, the left this or the right that. Who gives a damn? That's why I don't claim either side. And I know that for some of you that's an unpopular opinion. However, it's just gross. I don't like it. I don't want to participate in it. There are things about the left that I can't stand. There are things about the left that I like. There are things about the right that I can't stand. There are things that I like. There are things right down the middle that I can't stand, and there are things that I like. Everyone is so occupied or preoccupied with being left or right. And sadly, being right means two things. So everyone's so concerned about being right and not right-sided necessarily that they have forgotten how to just be a half-decent human being. So that, again, that's where I was headed, is that I'm just trying to be a decent human being day in and day out. If I don't want to be upset with you because your opinion doesn't align with mine, I don't want you to be upset with me because mine doesn't align with yours. I don't have a narrative. I don't need things to feed into my narrative. I don't need to be upset when they don't. I'm just trying to be a decent human being, raise my damn kids right, make it from one day to the next, or a paycheck to the next. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, that everyone is so preoccupied trying to be right or back their side or what they think is the correct answer that they have forgotten how to be a decent damn human being. And I've said it before. We're all stuck on this rock together, and this isn't helping anything. This isn't going to get any of us ahead, at least not anyone that listens to this show, because we're regular, hardworking folks. You know, we're just trying to survive. We're not trying to feed our narrative or our political stance or somehow, you know, we're not trying to win polls. I'm just trying to live. You know, like I said, make it month to month, let alone week to week and day to day. And I assume that you guys are the same. And I know that it probably sounds dumb for some of the folks that aren't in this country that are listening, but I also feel like it probably doesn't. Like I kind of feel like the rest of the world is just trying to survive like we should be. But we're so at each other's throats that it's insane. It's just insane. And I don't, I hate to repeat myself every damn show, but I just don't see it being, it's not sustainable. It's just not. And we have to figure it out. And the sooner we figure it out, the better. Well, like I said, I know I've said it a million times, but I love you guys. Sorry. Alexa decided she was listening and decided to chime in. Well, thanks for throwing me off my game, Alexa. Anyhow. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Huh. Yeah. Well, if that isn't the sentient thing just listening in the background, I don't know what is. Anyhow, you guys know what I mean. Try and focus on being a decent human and living your life. Listen, crank up some tunes, go out for a drive, go fishing, go hunting, just turn off all the shit and just be. Check on your loved ones, check in with them, go hang out with them. Time is short. It's not getting any better. The days are passing. Winter is coming, which gross to say that cliche thing now that thanks to that one show, which is a great show, by the way. But these temperatures aren't going to last long. Neither is our time here on this rock. So, get out, have some fun, be well, treat everybody good. I hope everyone's doing good. I wish you all good luck and good fortune and good weather in whatever neck of the woods you might be in. And that's it for me for this week. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Hope I made sense. Appreciate you listening. Tell your friends. Get at me if you want to talk. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. Love you guys. Cheers.